Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Hey everyone, just know that you can use the promo code BROADS for $20 off of your SeatGeek's total purchase, so make sure you get yourself to a game. The Eagles make no moves at the deadline. Howie Roseman is getting roasted on Eagles Twitter for not acquiring any talent to make this football team better. Well, let's not say he didn't acquire anything, because we did make a trade with the Browns to get Avery, who will play defensive end. I will get into him. But in terms of the clock is ticking, there's an hour until the deadline is over. Adam Schefter is on his phone. Howie Roseman did not execute a trade. But here's the thing. It takes two teams to come up with a trade. Both have to be on the same page. And it's not Howie's fault that the market is so flawed and all over the place. I guarantee you that Howie was calling GMs, making trade offers, figuring out who's available. I guarantee it, Howie was involved with all of these players. But if another GM has this expectation that he's going to get a boatload in return and Howie's not willing to meet that price tag, that's not Howie's fault, because some of these players that we were going to trade for, the price tag was ridiculous. I'm not giving up a second-round pick for Robbie Anderson, someone who will not be with the Eagles moving forward. I'm not giving up a second-round pick to the Denver Broncos for Chris Harris, someone who's 30 years old and plays his best football in the slot and will not be here moving forward. I'm not doing it. Do not tell me that Howie Roseman can't draft, and that's a reason why you should throw away all your draft picks. He needs to be better drafting, but that doesn't mean you can throw away your draft picks and just give them away to teams because Howie has missed on players. That's a horrible way. A horrible way to think. That's a fan who is very emotional and irrational. I wonder if inside, though, the Eagles realize where they are. They're 4-4 with a chance to win the division, absolutely. But can we compete with the New Orleans Saints, the Green Bay Packers, the 49ers? Can we compete with them? I'm just thinking, there might be a little bit of discussion internally with the top dogs and really assessing where they are at. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not mad at Howie Roseman. I'm really not. I'm not giving away all of these obnoxious picks for someone who will be here for the rest of the season. For what? For this team to win a wild card game? For this team to not make the playoffs? For what? We have so many holes. We have problems with our defensive tackle right now. We have problems at linebacker. We got problems in the secondary, although people are getting healthy. We have issues with the wide receiver. We can't create anything offensively. There's so many issues. A first or second round pick for some of these players, it's not worth it. I know Darius Slay was in the conversation, and the Lions were reportedly asking for the starting price to be a first round draft pick. He's someone who will be here for the rest of this season and next, 30 years old. A very talented corner, but I understand with not giving that package up either. The Eagles are going with the mindset of, we're going to get healthier. Tim Jernigan, Nigel Bradham, Cravon LeBlanc, Deshaun Jackson, they're just hoping and praying that the team gets healthier and that will help them execute down the stretch. I would feel worse about this if every other team was making all of these trades, getting better, selling, and the Eagles stayed where they were. But there is a reason why nobody made moves. It was so quiet, the expectations, the hype, and it fell flat on its face. No one made moves because everyone is so unrealistic with the trade market right now, asking for these obnoxious prices for specific players that aren't worth that price tag. So what are you going to do? There's a reason why no one made moves. It wasn't just Howie. So you can't expect Howie to give up a big-time package for a little bit of help right now. One thing, though, that felt good to see was Jamal Adams not going to the Cowboys. This defends my case even more that the market is so screwed up. Jamal Adams is a beast. He's a dog. And there were some real reports about the possibility of him going to the Cowboys. And he's a serious player worth a lot. I believe the Cowboys would have given up a good package to get him, a significant amount. But because they didn't, That tells me the Jets were really asking for something so unrealistic. Because if they were asking for a lot, but it was realistic, the Cowboys would have pulled the trigger and did it. So let's go to Avery from the Browns. It's weird because he played linebacker, but with the Eagles, he will be playing defensive end with our scheme. He had 4.5 sacks last year. He didn't play too much this year, and Browns fans not really happy with it. If you see Browns Twitter, and if you go to the post where the Browns official account tweeted the trade, they are disgusted in the comments section because they wanted him to play more. They were pissed off that he wasn't playing, and they didn't understand why he wasn't getting on the field. I feel like this is something similar to Deshaun Hall. Like, I don't put too much stock in the Browns fans being upset. Because if the Eagles traded Deshaun Hall, there would be a ton of comments praising him, saying, well, why couldn't he play here? We should have put him in the game. Deshaun Hall, what is he? I mean, can he get you a little bit of spark once in a blue moon? Maybe. But he's not anything serious. I expect more out of this guy in Avery. But I compare it to that when I'm talking about the Twitter nonsense, the Browns Twitter. Because a lot of fans don't know much about Avery. And they say, well, go look at what the Browns are saying about them. Go look at what the Browns fans are saying about them. That'll show you how much expectations he had. And how much hype he had, I guess. I'm not putting too much stock into people's reactions on Twitter because that is the most mind-blowing thing to read in this world would be Twitter. What this comes down to is the Eagles understand, I think, where they are at with the league and with their roster, and they see what's going on in the price tags, and they know it's not worth mortgaging the future for someone who will be here for a little bit of time to try and win the NFC East. I know as fans you expected to get Chris Harris, to get Robbie Anderson, the speedster. But we got to use some common sense here. We need to think about this logically. Why would you give up a second-round pick for him? Why? There's no reason to whatsoever. So it is disappointing because I don't have much faith in Deshaun Jackson coming back. Apparently he's going to be speaking to the media this week. I'm hoping he doesn't shut it down for the season. It's either one or two things. He's going to say he's playing or he's going to say he's shutting it down for the rest of the season. But I don't know what to expect out of Deshaun Jackson. To me, if I was Howie Roseman, I would have looked harder at the wide receiver position for a speedster over a cornerback or anything of that nature. I'm not saying we couldn't have used those players in the secondary, but the wide receiver was so important to get a speedster because this offense can't click until we find that speedster. And we just need to pray that the answer is Deshaun Jackson coming back and being effective, being relevant with the pain that he's going to have, because he will have pain for not getting this surgery. It's such a disaster the way that entire situation played out this season for the Eagles. But I was also looking at Howie thinking, will we ever sell something? For example, Vaitai. That's been a discussion. Now, Vaitai can be used as a third tight end in some of these packages where he can block and be aggressive and we can really pound the rock or whatever the case may be. But there are a lot of teams that need offensive line help. And this is someone who, give him credit or not, did start in the Super Bowl at the left tackle position and did have very valuable time in meaningful games in the NFL. So there is value there. I was curious if Howie would use him for trade bait or sell him for a draft pick and then use that draft pick to help acquire someone else or something of that nature. But that did not happen. And same with Vinny Curry. Because Vinny Curry hasn't been what we expected him to be, but there's no value in him whatsoever. You had more of a chance with Vaitai than Vinny Curry. Nelson Aguilar was in the conversation for potentially moving because we're not going to re-sign him after the season, but once again, no real value there because he can't catch the football. And everyone in the entire league understands that. So it is what it is. But all around, the point of this is, it's not Howie's fault. You can't be disgusted in Howie Roseman not getting the job done if it takes two parties. That's my biggest thing. This isn't something where Howie makes the full decision and then, okay, it's on him. You need to make the other team happy. You got to find ways to put up a package that makes sense for both teams. Well, that wasn't getting done, and that wasn't getting done all around the NFL. So you can't just criticize Howie. There is clearly an issue all around with all of these GMs trying to make different acquisitions. It's just reality. So let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.